And here we are in the third rounds for both of these two individuals here in Titans League.
Oh, look at those TCs.
And oh my god, the TCs are right next to each other. Oh boy, this is as close as we have had actually in all the Nomad generations. If this were
on the ladder, you'd have the treaty boxes overlapping.
Yeah, but this is true Nomad experience. There's no big yellow box that tells you someone's close by here. Well, I was gonna go through this massive intro on the players and what way they need, and let's just say that the standings show that both players are needed some victories. And holy crap, man! Like T-West, they're gonna be competing for the same boars. They're gonna be competing for the same wood. Even it looks like.
Yeah, the same wood. And how about gold? Look at Sitaux's TC. He has a stone to the north.
Yeah.
But Sebastian has basically TC'd the closest gold to him. And the TC's kind of Sebastian has a way to cut Sitaux off from getting to that gold to the south too. Sitaux's gonna have to go a really far way.
Yeah.
To find any type of gold.
Well, the thing that gets tricky here is when do they realize it? Because if you realize now, you can strategize a bit. And actually, it's going to get interesting because Sitaux just sent a villager out. And so he took that sheep.
Found that sheep is Sebastian's.
Yeah. So now Sebastian's probably thinking the TC is directly where that sheep was lost, which is not exactly where it is. And then Sitaux, did he lose that sheep near where the boar is? I can't actually tell. Or maybe that was a starting villager. I think he lost that sheep.
It's hard to tell if they're the starting villas of the sheep.
Yeah.
Because he saw the sheep from Sebastian heading to the south, so he might think that Sebastian might be down there.
All right. Well, I think it's all the more important for Sebastian to get boars early then, if this is the type of start you have, because of the way boars generate. For those that don't know, T-West and I think with this script, we didn't actually do any changes. I think we just kind of kept this as is from the work I'd done with Crazini in the past. But anyways, for a lot of the maps, you and I worked together on those, so it gets us even more excited to talk about this because it's just so rare to see a map gen like this. Wow.
Yeah, and does Sitaux have access to... I guess he has those two boars by the middle lake. But, Sebastian was also lucky that he TC'd the boar in this area.
Yeah.
His boars, I think they need to stay... There's a distance of about 24 map tiles that they're kept apart.
Okay.
And Sitaux wants the boar.
And he could get it, too. That's a crazy thing. No way. He's gonna get it! Yes!
He got it.
Oh, he needed that one, T-West.
Oh, that's so good for him.
Yeah. Now it's evened out, and now they're going to have to scout elsewhere for the boars. They'll be scouting with sheep, but one boar apiece so far for these two neighbors.
Yeah, and if Sebastian was paying attention, he saw where the boar was running in the fog of war.
Yeah.
But he doesn't exactly see where it was killed. So he should have a pretty good idea of where Sitaux is, but might not know exactly where the TC is.
Well, I'm trying to think about how this would change strategy, because I do think to an extent you just do have to plan more around the situation than the civilizations. And in a normal setup where they're a bit further away, Portuguese may consider to try and go fast castle into organ guns. You see a lot of that. I think fast castle is kind of out of the question now, and so maybe there's a world. Look at Sebastian. He's looking... And he had scouted that earlier. He's going to bring in another boar. But I think maybe I would actually give an advantage to Malians. Assuming that Sitaux finds gold, I think it's going to be really good for him to have that nice little flexibility with the cheaper buildings being this close.
Yeah, normally Malians are the civ that wants to go for more of a feudal age strategy on Nomad, just because they're up so fast and they can be a bit disruptive. And we've seen that a few times with either archers or early fire ships.
Great job from these two.
Yeah, they feel like they're more of a fast castle civ normally on Nomad. But the hard thing for Malians is if the castle does go up and you're this close to each other, what can you possibly do to stop it?
Exactly. Yeah, that's another part which might come into play. Will Sebastian be able to get stone? Obviously, it's there, but obviously it'd be exposed as well. So far, better start for Sitaux. You are expecting to have a better start if you're Malians because you can afford to make a fishing ship with the dock and the house and the TC at the start. And he did an excellent job producing fishing ships throughout all the Dark Age here. Trying to see, though, did anyone locate the docks? Wow, Sitaux's done such a good job. He lost the sheep on the shoreline. So he will know where
Yeah, he knows right
Sebastian's
where that
dock is, and Sebastian doesn't know where his dock is. Wow.
Yeah, Sebastian just missed it with the sheep he's been sending up to the north. Now he's going to scout the edge next to the land, which is kind of like, if you know that Nomad is connected to the land on one side, that's usually not where you want your sheep to go. You want your sheep scouting the coastline to find those docks.
Yeah, you are right. He's kind of missed the coastline a little bit with his waypoints on the right. But the more he walls here, T-West, the more I start thinking that he's going to try a fast castle drop. And Sitaux's going to try and go aggressive here and break that. In fact, Sitaux's got a villager.
Yeah, we see that barracks already.
Look at this Vil from Sitaux. I think he was considering a second dock and then realized it was landlocked there. But if he would run through with that villager, he could maybe sneak some archer ranges up or something.
Oh, you're right. And Sebastian would have that walled off. You wouldn't be expecting that at all.
Yep. Okay. So, Sebastian, nice work there to bring in that boar from far away. He's going to need that food if he goes fast castle. I think he's got to click up to feudal age. This is really going to be late.
There's an outpost from Sitaux, so he's going to see that TC finally.
Yeah.
And the question is, even if you do get some archers out on Nomad, your economy is so compact by your TC, it can be hard to find areas to do damage.
Yeah.
Because that TC, right now, it's defending a wood line, it's defending the gold, and the dock's going to be down there. That's hard for archers to harass too.
Sebastian played, I don't know if you saw the series, but Sebastian played really well against Viper on Nomad. He did end up losing that game, but it was just because he was a little late to a wall. Like, he looked so good. And then he actually had beaten Veleza on Nomad too. So he's certainly no stranger to this. And I like the tower, T-West, right behind the wood line. It's an annoying spot to be towered if you're Sebastian, because you normally don't want to make a lumber camp right now.
Yeah, and it pushes him away from that wood line. And even if he does make a lumber camp on that back wood line, it's just a bit further away from that TC. If Sitaux is able to break through that palisade somewhere and get some archers there, it's actually something they can harass.
Mm-hmm. At the moment, Sebastian's got 7 fishing ships, so this is all part of his plan. Just get as much food income as possible. He is on stone, and in 40 seconds, he's going to be able to make his own towers. He doesn't want to spend all of his stone on towers, because he's going to need stone for a castle, but it's full eco, no army right now, and Sitaux's going to try and break in from both angles. He's attacking with the villagers near the tower, and then he might even make another tower near the dock here, which is an interesting area to
remember,
go.
These palisade walls are weaker now in the Dark Age. They only have 150 HP, so he was able to force some quick walling out from Sebastian and already make progress with another tower.
Yeah. I have a feeling this deer is going to be super annoying.
Oh, yeah, because you try to make a house and the deer is on top of it.
Yeah.
Oh, God. You know what? Sitaux, if he could shoot that deer and kill it with the villagers, the corpse would block quick walling spots.
That's true. Well, it's too bad that didn't happen. Great work from Sebastian so far. He is missing the wood right now to get the blacksmith, but he does have the market, and he's making a natural wall towards the TC. Just really desperate here to get the buildings as he just stone walls. And Sitaux is like trying to loop around to find his fish, so he's going to have fire galleys on the fish eventually, but he still just hasn't been able to break this guy.
Yeah, and he's even buying wood at the market. That's what that tower does. It's just going to slow down this fast castle just a bit because he needs to find other ways to get that blacksmith up.
But still, if you drop, like, if you made to this point and you haven't lost a single fishing ship or villager, and then you're in a position to drop a castle when you make it to Castle Age, you don't even need fishing ships at that point because organ guns only cost wood. They only cost gold. It's just incredible defense here from Sebastian. And Sitaux's going to dive underneath the TC. No way. Crazy quick walls. No way, dude. The play of the day here from Sebastian. That was so good. Wow, man. I mean, I think if you and I are in that position, T-West, we probably garrison our TC and maybe get one house down, and then 3 or 4 archers get through, and then it's a headache. Dang.
Now, you know what would happen? We would hit that recent bug that's been going around where the TC doesn't shoot the things underneath it.
Yeah.
And they just walk right through.
That's true as well. I mean, he could try it again, Sitaux. I mean, it was a bold move. He needs to do damage. And he's just going to walk right through with the other archers. So you could see how easy it is for him to try it. Sebastian should probably just wall the front of it at this point. But, I mean, that castle's going to go up.
That opening's there. Yeah, that opening's there because you're not putting down the farms around your TC when you're investing to the fishing ships, right?
Yeah.
So you're a bit further away, and that tower clearing the vills off that wood line means that he doesn't really have as many vills to garrison as you usually would.
I mean, just imagine if 5 archers got through, it would have changed the whole game. It's 2, and Sitaux has already killed a villager. So, great job from Sitaux. I give him a lot of credit here for being able to break through, and there's some weak villagers on these resources from bringing in boars earlier, so that's another villager down. The fishing ships are already dying. And Sebastian, let's see how much stone he actually has to buy here, because he's at 605.
Yeah, he had to run all of his stone vills because of those archers, so he's going to need to use the market there. Oh, look at this gate.
I think that's to stop the castle spot, because the castle could go up there, but no, the castle's going to go on the other side. That makes sense as well here. If you're Sebastian, though, you pull the weak villagers off of this. You do not want to lose any unnecessary villagers here onto the towers. And Sitaux's adding a couple stone walls. Sitaux's going to click up to Castle Age. He did some damage here, but it's a big question right now on Nomad and Arena and everything is how do you stop the organ guns?
Yeah, and well, one answer could be Redemption Monks, because the Malians do have a very good monk tech trait, and I have seen that work sometimes. I think the real question, though, is if the Portuguese... If you get to that 1 TC imp situation, where you go for that organ gun push, and then you click up, they just have such a good economy adding in the Fetorias behind it. I think that's where things get really hard to stop.
Let's see where Sebastian goes with his first organ gun. Excuse me. Because if he moves out with confidence, he's going to find this opening. Sitaux is just late with the stone walls. That's the right idea, but it's just not in time. And yeah, I don't see those walls being completed here for Sitaux. I mean, he can add a gate, but that villager will die pretty quickly, and it's going to be not just organ guns, but mangonels coming. So crazy pressure from Sebastian, who hasn't won a single game in Titans League. His very first game in Titans League Platinum, he almost beat Viper. Like, he was dominating Viper the entire game, and then it was this crazy Viper-esque comeback. So I felt bad for him ever since, because it feels like he deserves it.
There's a hole there by the gate. The organ gun is in.
Ooh, yeah. Villager comes forward as well. The siege is going the other way as well.
Yeah. And, if you get enough organ guns, you can kind of take out watchtowers with them.
It's
They're
such a
really
good
good at damaging buildings.
Yeah, I think guard tower is going to be the play here for Sitaux. So he's got a couple towers up already, would make sense. He drops the university to the north. He's got a lot more area to expand. Sebastian's kind of stuck, but Sebastian's got gold, wood, and food for now. Organ gun's looping. Guard tower upgrade costs wood and food, and Sitaux can't afford it right now. Oh,
he's just popping down those towers. He had an opportunity earlier to wall between that middle lake and that bottom wood line, but he didn't take it.
Yep. Just, it's so focused on applying the pressure, and now is receiving so much of it here. Sitaux has fallen behind in the villager count, but does still have the fishing ships bringing in food. So food's not really the question. It's more so, can he stop this buildup of organ guns from killing everything else?
Yeah, and his gold is pretty safe. It's so far away that the organ guns probably won't be able to get there. So he does have gold, at least for the moment, and he does have stone.
What's Sebastian do from here? I mean, I feel like more villagers on stone would make sense. So you could just drop an additional castle at some point. But then again, he's doing a really nice job of adding in the farms because he hasn't had a ton of food eco. Wait, he's been fishing? He's had 3 fishing ships working Sitaux hasn't killed, which is kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's just now making a fire galley. So if he could actually clear out this one fire galley Sitaux has, he might be able to get back on the water and maybe add in some more fish with his eco too.
Yep. Do you think organ guns are going to see a change at some point from the devs? I bring this up with you because you and I, we've been around a long time. We talk a lot about balance and, game design and maps and scripts. I'm just curious because this unit, in order to convert it, you need redemption, which is crazy. And then it's still got 7 range.
Yeah.
It takes out siege really fast. It takes out knights really fast. It archers aren't really a great counter to it. It's just really tough to stop.
It's kind of weird because like there really isn't a counter to it in the Castle Age other than maybe some good unique units. But then it kind of falls off. It's kind of like the Conquistador and the Janissary in that it falls off a bit more in the Imperial Age, especially if you can get out some onagers or bombard cannons. So I'm not really sure what to do with it, because it feels like, you know, if you don't need redemption to convert them, then monks become a really strong counter to it.
Yeah, then it's too strong.
And
exactly. Yep.
Yeah, like if you take out one of its range, then it can't destroy TCs. So I'm not really sure how to change it without like completely nerfing it and still giving the Portuguese this push. Because I think it's good that they have a good unique unit push.
Agreed.
To make Vittorias actually useful for something.
Okay.
And give them that 1 TC option.
Man, I mean, Sitaux has hung in here. We just lost him, lose a lot of villagers. But the guard tower play, and he did utilize the bonuses, right? Cheaper wood buildings from Alliance means cheaper university, but also faster researching guard tower. Or, sorry, faster researching university techs, which obviously help with the guard tower. It's helpful, but he can't really produce villagers that easily. And these organ guns, I mean, they're going to work through that stone wall so fast here. But yeah, I mean, back to our conversation as we watch Sebastian just try and push out here. It is a really interesting question because you want Portuguese to still have this push. And so far, I mean, it seems like that's been what people have been doing in Titans League with Portuguese, man. And then obviously the wood change that happened, the wood bonus, makes it more accessible to them on arena maps and whatnot. I think maybe an increase in cost would make it interesting. The idea I have with the working guns is just make them take more damage to mangonels, right? Because mangonels get one-shotted by them, but if mangonels did more damage to them, because the way they clump up, it would at least force the Portuguese player to mix in monks and, you know, convert those mangonels as well, right?
Yeah, because they do have a really good monk tech tree too, and they have the cheaper monks because the gold tech or the gold bonus applies to that too.
Yeah, just make them work for it. Like, make them have to have the monks with it. I think it'd be still really, really strong. But T-West, what's the long term here for Sitaux? It just seems like he's running. He's like, you know, more TCs circling around the map, more docks to add more fishing ships.
One military.
Yeah. He's done a good job. I mean, all things considered, I think you would have expected to maybe lose more, but the efficiency hasn't really been there. I just don't know what you build up towards.
The build counts are still equal, right? This has been 1 TC play this entire time from Sebastian. Sitaux has been adding in TCs, keeping his fish alive, and trying to boom. But it's an eco KD of 22-7 now. Yeah. He's lost a lot of villagers to this push.
Yeah, Sebastian could have maybe been a little bit faster to the second TC, but honestly, he's been so aggressive that you can understand. He's really, at all times, been focusing. Right there, attacking the stable. Now he's on the wood line. And we see, a castle from Sitaux. I thought it would be a defensive castle behind all this. Oh, man.
Well, in some ways, it kind of is defensive, right? It's like right next to his TC, but they're just so close to each other.
Yeah, that's true. That guard tower has made it awkward for Sebastian to move around. And there's a tower there on the berries and the hunters, which just looks hilarious to me. This whole game just looks so unique. How many towers? Let's see. It's been 8 towers and a castle. It's crazy.
I mean, this is the situation where I feel like if Sebastian finds a way to click up to Imp, then he can really punish Sitaux. Because if you look at Sitau's food and gold, he has no economy behind this.
Yeah, I agree.
So this is I'm actually kind of questioning if that second TC is good, or if he should probably just try to go full 1 TC clown style and aim for that faster Imp.
You know, I mean, I was looking at his food eco. It never really looked like Sebastian was in a spot where he was floating a lot of res. So, you know, maybe he just didn't feel like that was realistic. As we talk about it, he's now selling some stone, buying some food. So it must be on his mind. But what else is on his mind is killing some of the fishing ships that are out there from Sitaux. And Sitau's too busy worried about everything else. And as all the organ guns sit underneath the guard tower. Oh, that's a great play there from Sebastian.
He's going to lose some, though. Not quite in that murder holes range with all of them.
Yeah, it must be so frustrating.
He's market too.
Yeah, denies the market. I think he took the other one out. Yeah, he did take the other one out. Murder holes also costs, what is it, stone and food? I forget.
Stone.
Yeah, I think it's stone wood or stone food.
Yeah, it's 100 stone.
Okay.
Oh, he's going to fight organ guns with villagers.
I mean, not ideal, but they are weak at least, so you can take out most of these things. But now the fishing ships are starting to go down, or will start to go down for Sitaux. And you've got a fire coming from the left dock. I don't know if you saw that, T-West. It's more towards, like, the north, I guess, where the TC is. So he's sneaking in fires from that side, too.
Oh, yeah, he did get that sneak dock up there. So that's the eco for Sitaux right there, going down. He's finally doing War Galley, but I think the fishing ship will go down before that even comes in. Fire ships are so much faster at killing the fish than the fire galleys are.
Mm-hmm. Man, it's interesting just how many of the same building that Sitaux has made in this game to try and adapt. He's so many mills all over the map. He's got guard towers everywhere. He's got docks everywhere.
The Malians because they're cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, if he wasn't Malians, he might not be able to do any of this. TCs too. But Imp is on the way for Sebastian, and he did lose his starting TC to the castle from Sitaux, but he's going to be in a position to make trebuchets, like we said, and he can treb back majority of the towers, the castle, and everything, and there's just still no answer to the organ gun from Sitaux.
Yeah, I don't think Gebettos have the range. If they get in close, they'll actually do melee damage and can probably kill them, but it's just getting there to jump on them. You're going to lose so many Gebettos in the process. They don't have the HP to do that.
Look at this. Sitaux trying to stop Sebastian from expanding, thinking that his best chance in the long run is just keeping Sebastian in that corner. But I think with these types of pushes, you mentioned, like, you don't necessarily need more villagers if you're Portuguese. You could actually just make a Feitoria or two. And that kind of backs up your push a bit. Nice shot from Sitaux on water. I don't know if saving those 5 fishing ships that are traveling long distances now is the biggest key for him, though. But it is an important way for him to stay alive in this game.
Yeah, like every fire ship he invests in is just resource he's not going to have for stopping the trebuchets.
Yeah, exactly. And all right, so we have Treb on the way. Sitaux is probably like, oh god, you're kidding me. Like, oh. He probably
and
sensed it.
on the way in the back.
Yep. This Portuguese all-in play. Like, organ guns are one of the toughest unique units to stop. But then the fact that they have Feitoria to back it all up is genuinely really strong right now. I played a 4 Lakes game yesterday where I had every single pond. But I was in Sitau's position. I had every single pond with a lot of fish and a lot of TCs, so I was deep in castle. And the opponent just made 3 Feitorias in their base and just went organs and monks and trebs. And I just had no answer to it. It's really hard to stop.
Yeah. And there was that Regicide Fortress game earlier. What was it? I think Samaro Dragonstar, where they both went fast in monks.
Yep.
But the Portuguese, they have great monks.
Yep.
And they have eco behind it.
Yeah, low eco pushes suddenly don't feel quite as awkward when you have a Feitoria. You do have to pay for it. But there's going to be 2 of them, and it brings a trickle of all resources. And I think
it's the
Sitaux
timing,
just...
really.
Yeah, it's the timing, but it's also the units because the organ gun's so hard to stop. So anytime you're killing an organ gun, you need to have a way superior eco, basically. Which is hard to achieve, and so the castle will go down for Sitaux. And I look at Sitaux right now, and I don't think he knows. I think he's going to continue to fight, but I don't think he has any clue how he could stop this at the moment.
Yeah, and when you think about Malians too, they're not really the late imp civ that you want. They're more of a mid-game castle age civ.
Yep. And Castle's stayed up for a bit longer. Castle now goes down. Now, this is where the towers and the TCs are going to start to fall. If there was a world where Sitaux could maybe go imp, like, I don't know, maybe you stop creating vills right now just so you can click up to imp. That might be your way back in this.
Yeah, but the problem with Malians is without Bracer, they really don't have a quick way of fighting the organ guns when they get to imp. They really want to be going probably for cavalry at this point, but that takes a lot of eco.
Yep. And I think Sebastian should be keeping that in mind. He is actually going hand cannons, which is an interesting addition. I think a lot of the arena-style players would be mixing in some monks, just in case some knights came out later. But
yeah, I agree with you. Monks just complement this push so well.
Mm-hmm. And right now, he does have a few. He's going to grab some relics, too. Sitaux is killing a boar with Gebetto on the right side. he's just trying to kill something with, I guess, what he can. And
don't let him take that boar.
Villagers trying to escape for Sitaux, and I don't know, man.
Nice gate there.
Could get a big mango shot here, though. These organs are stacked. This is where if they did more damage versus organs, those organs would really have to fear, but then it's just like, boom, it's dead.
Like, they're also kind of speedy, too. Like, they can split and dodge a bit.
Yeah. Sebastian knew exactly what he wanted to do here on Nomad. Remember, Game 1 is the map that's remaining after a series of bans from all the players. So it's not like if Sitaux hated this map and this is a home map pick from Sebastian. No, Sitaux played very good on Nomad. He played it in each series from Titans League that he's already played leading into the series. And we looked at the odds before this. Sebastian needs wins. And not just like one win out of this play all three. He needs 2 or 3 to feel really comfortable having a chance of being able to stay alive in the top league. And he's pushing slowly.
He can get.
Yeah, he's trying. The Sitaux is going to be an imp. I still don't know what he'll make, but he will be an imp soon.
Yeah, and when capture rate shows the Vil count, does that include the Fatorias too in the population?
No. It shows
that's 74. Yeah, it's 74 Vils to 113, but
Yeah.
that 74 is backed by 2 Fatorias.
Yeah. Yeah, what it does show is the total population, which is to the left of that. That shows the Fatoria pop. But the eco count is always the actual working eco count. All right, mangonels are going to pop out here.
Raiding the farms in the back. I don't know how often you see that, but
yeah,
Sebastian's losing Vils to those fires.
Yeah, notice that. Mangonels didn't do much damage. Demo from Sitaux, that was more effective than anything else. Still lots of units knocking on his door. He's just trying to delay. And just, I'm still wondering, what's the unit choice here for Sitaux? It looks like chemistry, and I guess bombard cannon is what he's thinking here.
Probably, but then you get to the awkward situation where the Malians don't have siege engineers and the Portuguese do. So you get in that game of dodgeball and they outrange you.
Well, I mean, a lot of hand cannons are dying to towers. The towers have been pretty effective here. And because the Malian university upgrades come in so much faster, chemistry's already in. So now you could just make like 4 or 6 bombard cannons, and Sebastian only has 1. I'm honestly thinking that there might actually be a slight chance here for Sitaux to win this game. Like, I think he could push back this entire army, in theory anyways.
Yeah, like, he at least has an economy. He's up to 117 Vils. I like what Sebastian is thinking of stonewalling off the right side of the map.
Mm-hmm.
They both wanted a castle in exactly the same spot, and Sitau's going to get there first.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, Sebastian's had all this time, but the towers have just slowed him down. It's not like he hasn't been pushing. It's just taken him a long time. And he's very much committed to a unit that could still just be picked away at by bomber cannons. This would be a crazy win. If Sitaux could win this game, this would be wild because it's felt like he's been dead for so long.
Yeah, the towers, it just takes so long to take them out.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is trebuchets, they don't actually hit the towers every time. Against the castles are big enough that the shots always land.
Yeah.
But against buildings, trebuchets are only 80% accurate. So you'll see sometimes their shots miss, and it's much slower to take them out with trebs than it is to take out other buildings.
Oh, man. Sitaux picks off the only bomber cannon for Sebastian, and then also goes in there for the treb. We'll end up backing away here so he doesn't lose the rest of these, exactly. But I guess the bomber cannons might end up being lost. But Sebastian, he was going to run in there, but then there's the towers, and what is happening, Sitaux? What in the world? He also has a Gebetto, so he can see the castle on the right side. And he's already making a treb there as well to take out that castle, assuming it completes.
It looks like there's just enough vills to go up, but just enough vills. As you know, Sebastian, he was losing a lot of those hand cannoneers under the guard towers. And you have to think maybe he was getting a bit sloppy with his army control. Maybe he thought Sitaux was a bit more dead than he actually was.
Well, I think had he gone for knights, like had he switched into cavalier, which is the same resource, it takes the same resource as hand cannons, just food and gold. He could have run underneath those towers. He would have had the time. But he just figured, you know, I'm Portuguese. Let's just make gunpowder. And the guard tower stalled it out. Bombard cannon stalled it out. And now he's going to try and do that. But we'll see if maybe the timing's lost. Malians actually have a pretty solid counter to Cavalier when they have eco.
Yeah. And if you look at the resources, I guess the Fetorias don't count there, but there's only 9 on food for Sebastian.
Yeah.
He's lost the outside fish, and these fire ships, oddly enough, have been disrupting his farming eco.
Oh, man. Now, is there anything that Sitaux sees? So he could actually see the stable because of his original stone walls. Now, I don't think he's really shown me that he knows that yet. But as he lands some big shots, I guess you're hoping that you can just get more hand cannons or maybe get some monks or camels out. Here's the Cavalier. He definitely knows now. Sebastian still has to focus on the right side, which I'm sure he might do. But the Cavalier making a difference already here. Malian skirmishers very weak compared to their other options. Great job from Sebastian to continue this pressure through the middle.
Yeah, and remember, heavy camel takes a really long time, and there's no armor upgrades and no attack upgrades at the blacksmith yet. No bloodlines even. It looks like Sitaux might try to work towards them, but it's going to be a long time before he can take fights.
Oh, he tried to trap. I'm not sure if he got it or not. The Cavalier are getting kills in there. And on the other side, the Cavalier weren't able to snipe Sitau's Treb. But the Cavalier switch has made a big difference. This is super messy, man. But I'm liking Sebastian's position more. He's got 21 Cavalier with more on the way right now. And still no camels out. Still no heavy camel upgrade for Sitaux.
And that castle on the right, at least, is on a hill. So those Trebs will have a bit of a penalty when they try to attack it. And one of the things Sebastian has to worry about, though, he doesn't have too many vills on the right-hand side. 3 Trebs could probably take out this castle if they stay alive.
Yeah. Also, no siege workshop, so he can't make a bombard cannon. He's actually kind of low on pop in general because of 3 Fetorias. He's got another one on the right. But I don't know, man. It seems like the Cavalier switch was the ticket here. He's raiding in multiple different locations. He's sending Cav to snipe the Trebs now on the right side and hold that position. And while it was great initial defense here from Sitaux, Sebastian's actually able to finish off a game off the back of a good position. It was starting to feel just like it felt when he was ahead of Viper, and then Viper clawed it back there, and he's able to get the win anyhow. Wins the first game, and that was... I guess it benefited him that he was right next to Sitaux here. I don't know.
No, at the end it did. I think you just want to be close so that the organ guns can get out. As long as you're able to defend from that early feudal pressure and get your castle up, someone who invests in feudal is going to have a really tough time making a transition to stop that.
Yeah, and Sitaux really tried everything. He had towered multiple areas. He was battering through with villagers. And then he tried the crazy move of running underneath the TC. And honestly, I think if Sebastian wasn't on point there, and he didn't kill those 5 archers, I don't think he ever gets the castle up. Or if he gets the castle up, he would have lost 10 villagers to those archers and the game would have been over. So that was kind of the key moment for me. It feels crazy to look back at that moment and say it was the key moment, but it allowed him to do everything that he ended up doing afterwards. Sitaux played it well. Sitaux probably frustrated with the Portuguese, and I mean, who isn't when you've got that many organ guns coming your way? And it's pretty crazy when Malians, the civ that's been seen as great on Nomad because of how flexible they are and how good their economy
is,
just have like no answer to that type of push.
Yeah, maybe Sitaux could have also gotten the stone walls up a bit faster. And I think Sebastian, he really took advantage of the land on one side of this version of Nomad. It's not like Sitaux could just sail there directly and take out the fish.
Yeah, it's true.
Sometimes I've seen players go to do a forward dock and take out the fish, so maybe that could have been an option for Sitaux.
Yep.
But as soon as the fish, like you were saying earlier, as soon as you click up to the castle age, you've gotten all the food you need from those fish.
I do think, I mean, this is a small thing. I'm not sure what it changed the game, but Sitaux did send fires over, and Sebastian had 3 fishing ships working for way longer than it should have. But honestly, I think at that point, like, Sebastian was already mixing in farms. the organ guns were already out. So that's not really something you look to as a glaring error there from Sitaux. Just, a tough Civ matchup and a tough position to fight from. And Sebastian getting a win against Sitaux yet again. Remember, for full context, everyone else, these guys were both in Gold League together in the same group in the first season. They both ended up getting promoted, but they had to play each other in a group format. And Sebastian got the first win of that series, and then Sitaux came back to win 2-1. So I kind of like the similarities there. And here we are, game 2. And again, Sebastian's kind of just like fighting for his life here. He got his first win in the first game of this series. He's going to want to follow that up with more, as he is currently 1 win out of a potential 7. Now, the good news for him, obviously, regardless of what happens here, is he has only played 2 rounds prior to this. So he's going to have 2 more after this. But still, I mean, get everyone you can if you're Sebastian. Try and fight all the odds here and stay up here in Platinum. And man, I mean, if the gold is safe with Aztecs, anything can happen. And if you have a little bit of extra wood to live off of on Kilimanjaro, you're not going to complain. So I think Sebastian's map and the Civ matchup even could be looking pretty tasty for him here.
He has a pretty good back gold, and of course these trees do have 150 wood on them, so it's not as little as it might first appear. And what I find interesting is if you look at Sitau's map, I've seen this a few times, but the Gurjar players go first for the berries and not for their shorefish.
Yeah.
Because you want to build the mill right at the start to put the goats inside of it. But I've seen them go for the berries. Do you have an idea why they do that instead of the fish? Because the fish are usually collected much faster than the berries are.
So first off, I haven't actually tested the build. I think there's a world where... Well, yeah, I don't even need to test the build. I think I can tell you why. So the problem is when you mill first, which you're always going to do with the Gurjaras, your lumber camp's delayed. And if you were to have milled first on the shorefish, I believe by the time that you are out of the shorefish and would want the wood to then mill the berries as well, you wouldn't have the wood.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Because they only have 200 food on each of these, and they're collected much faster.
And it's super fast, exactly. And the other benefit is that most civilizations, if you don't mill the shorefish, you're like, oh my god, why are you doing that? You're going to be later to the next age. The Gurjaras can mill the berries and still go 19 pop-up like it's nothing. So I think that it doesn't... All that extra food. Yeah, and there's not a negative to not milling it with the Gurjaras. But I think you should mill it later. Sitaux will probably look to do that. He is going to place his lumber camp now. And then Sebastian, I mean, I'm wondering how he's going to play this one. The Eagle all-in can work really well against the civilization in Gurjaras that can't make knights, I think.
Yeah, like late game, Gurjaras can go for those Chakram throwers, but in the mid game, then I think they can struggle a bit. The Shravamsh Riders and their camels both really good against the knight or crossbow civs, but Eagles can be tricky for them to deal with.
Yeah, now I haven't seen Shravamsha Riders against Eagles in a while. When the Shravamshas first were introduced, they were terrorizing Mesocivs. Like, I think I saw a lot of people, including myself, try and go a combination of archers, combination of Eagles, and the Shravamshas were doing really well. So I honestly just haven't seen Shravamshas versus Mass Eagle yet to know how strong it is. My gauge, though, is that Eagle Spearman, Monk, from Aztecs just basically kills anything. So since that can dominate anything, you have to imagine the Shravamsha Rider is just not going to be enough. Because the Knight just has way more stats.
They are fast, but they don't have conversion resistance like Scouts do. So they might be better against Monks than like Knights are.
Yeah.
But when Aztec Monks have so much HP, it'll probably still be hard for them to kill them.
And here we go. Sitaux is going to click up. The other thing that's weird about the Shorefish is when you go for this build, you don't really have an extra 100 wood to make the mill right away. So the timing is still really fast with the Gurjaras without the Shorefish. It's probably the only civ where you can not look like an idiot for not taking it, but it's staring at me right in the face. I would always want to take it, you know?
Right. Because, most civs, if you're going Scouts, like, sometimes you do double lumber camp if you're going Scouts. So you're kind of swapping one of your lumber camps for that mill.
Yeah.
Right? So it still kind of fits in the build. With Gurjaras, you are kind of tight on wood. So it's more difficult to fit it in.
Okay, so Sebastian is going double lumber camp here, which is a bit uncommon for any type of Aztec build that I've seen. He's also on the shorefish, which we've touched on, so have lots of food there, plus the goats underneath his TC. You don't have to go to gold as quickly with the Aztecs, because you do start with more gold. However, normally there is a barracks. And the fact that there is no barracks right now tells me this will actually not be man-at-arms, which is a common opening, and instead maybe just kind of archers and adapt from there.
Yeah, well, whatever he's doing, he needs to get the barracks down soon.
Yeah.
Because he's almost feudal and hasn't laid the... There he does on the wood line there.
And he's going to find Sitaux. And I really like Sitau's build. He actually is getting the mill up. He's got the stable up. The wood upgrade's coming in at the perfect time. And Sitaux is just crazy talented. He's got the ability to kind of play anything. I know he lost the previous game on Nomad, but he's a good Nomad player. He's great with the standard land maps. I think the weakness of Sitaux would probably still be the closed maps, but that would also be the weakness for Sebastian, so shouldn't be an issue for him in this series.
Yeah, I guess one other thing to notice is Sitaux goes out to those fish is we did alter the map slightly so that you always do get the two fish next to each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes on the standard DE version, they'd be split up. So here you always have that option to mill them.
Yeah, that was one of the things I talked to you about. I was like, I know this sounds weird, but this is super annoying. And I noticed this is inconsistent.
Yeah, I think it's a really good change to the map, though. It gives you something interesting to do in the Dark Age. It's like, it's still a normal Dark Age, but you have that extra option.
Yeah. Let's see how aggressive Sitaux is here. Because he's lured the spearman away with his camel. Another spearman's coming in. Now, some players would just not want to lose HP here, but all the micro is there, and honestly not there for Sebastian at the same time, and very well played there from Sitaux. Probably is going to take that, killing a villager and keeping the walls up, trading just one scout away.
Yeah, keeping the walls up is important if you can get more scouts in, but the other two scouts are still kind of far away.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like you might not be able to dive in with them.
Would you have preferred here? Now, I understand that you don't use this logic when you're in the game. You just try and get the kill. But would you have preferred to lose the camel scout in this matchup or the scout?
That's a good point. Probably the camel scout here.
Yeah, right? Because it doesn't... You have no value unless you let them convert a stable and make us lots of warrior. You don't really utilize the camel scout bonuses in the long run.
Yeah, and unlike a scout, it still gets converted by monks. It doesn't have that resistance.
Yep.
So really not the unit you want against Aztecs.
All right, look at this, though. We've got Spearman, Eagle, 2 Archer play from Sebastian. So not sitting at home the whole time. But we're going to have 4 scouts from Sitaux, even a 5th. And if you get to about 5 scouts, you can absolutely take this type of fight. And I think for Sebastian, he spent a lot of time chasing that camel scout. So the camel scout might not actually kill anything, but that's going to have some big value because Sebastian hasn't sent everything forward.
Yeah, and the scouts are going to jump, and no fletching either for those 2 archers.
Wow, so well played from Sitaux. Just so comfortable in defense here. So he's killed the villager. He's going to kill everything in the middle as well, and Sebastian falling apart, and this is exactly the response that Sitaux would have wanted after the first game. He's like, if it's not Nomad, you're not going to be able to get me here, man. He's playing really confident.
Yeah, and I think that goes to show just why these scout civs are so strong on this map. You have to go over this big hill in the middle, and if you're going for archers, they're so slow, and it gives the scouts players opportunities to jump them. You make one mistake with your positioning, and all of a sudden your army's gone.
Just look at the farm count for Sitaux right now. 15 farms with horse color. Not even finished with berries yet. This guy's going to click up soon. I mean, this is incredible. He also still hasn't lost the camel. He's still being super annoying with the camel.
And so is the goats.
Yeah, I mean, he could be in Castle Age so much faster than Sebastian. And for Sebastian, that early wave is really what you want to have success here. So I think, you just got to hope now that maybe with some market shenanigans, you can get up. I've seen Aztecs get out of worse positions before.
Yeah, they are still Aztecs, but Sitaux feels like Sitaux is right where he wants to be in this matchup right now.
Aztecs in Dark Age and Feudal Age, they're solid. They're good. And many might even say great. But they just become the juggernaut in Castle when the faster production comes into play. And camel on the villager? No way. No way. Oh, man.
He gets it.
That's crazy, dude. He's been running around in this base forever and finally found a moment. That was sick.
Yeah, it's 2 vills down now. And he's going for the market. But still, he's going to be so much later up as Sitau's already up to the castle age.
Now, Sitaux doesn't see the ranged army anymore. He knows Sebastian had it. So this is correct game sense from him to realize that some pressure's coming. Now, will the pressure actually make it in? Because this is a moment for Sebastian to do some awkward damage.
Sitaux needs to finish that wall. I think there's still a tile near the stable in the mill that the army could walk around.
Oh my god, you've got to be kidding me.
And
Oh, what a tilter. He's got no army, T-West. He's got no army. He's waiting for Castle Age.
Scouts were forward.
Oh, man. That must be so frustrating. And Sebastian clicks up right behind Sitaux. And Sitau's going to have to wait some time until he can make Shravamsha Riders. And that's the other thing is, like, what is the unit? Is it going to be Shravamshas? I assume it's going to be because you can't make Knights.
Yeah, still no fletching on the archers, though. So if the scouts come in, even though there's 2 spears there, they can probably clean this up, especially if the vills fight too.
Yeah, it's true. Sebastian, though, he is killing all the scouts. I think killing all the scouts is amazing if you want to make monks in the next age. And this is a great fight for Sebastian.
Obviously, the idle time on those vills, all the idled farms. Obviously, he didn't kill any vills, but it's still a pretty good use of his army there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And at the end of the day, your opponent's going to have, like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 army when you make it to the next stage. But you've got 2 barracks, soon to be 3 barracks that are going to produce eagles. But again, this answers our question. What on earth are Shravamshas like against Aztecs in the Castle Age? I've seen instances where they've been okay, but with the way the unit's designed, I think it should be trash against eagles, right? It's just 75 HP, 8 attack.
That's what it feels like.
And then they have a dodge mechanic, which is not... It doesn't benefit them in a fight against an eagle.
No. And the Aztecs player, they can easily add in a few spears or a few pikemans along with their eagles. It's not like they have to make only eagles.
So look at the resources, too. We've got 700 food in the bank for Sebastian. And he still has all that gold in the back of his base. Wood is actually becoming the greater issue for him, as he actually just now is going to get his first blacksmith upgrade. But 6 Shravamshas versus 10 eagles pretty soon. I'd put my money on the eagles. Can you go long swords here? Or, I don't know. It feels like long swords are just too slow and clunky. I think it's got to be these Shravamsha riders.
I don't think the Gajars want to be going long swords anyway.
Do they not? Do they get even two-handed swordsmen?
They should get two-handed swordsmen, but I don't know. I think they don't get champion, if I remember their tech tree.
Okay. If this gate opens...
This is a lot of walling, though, for Sebastian. He needs to keep the Shravamsha riders out.
Yeah. This is going to say if the gate opens, the units could run in.
Oh, is there a hole by that lumber camp in the barracks?
Looks like there could be, but you have to assume Sebastian's checking that. And the Eagles are going to find Sitau's wood line. Sitaux also ran in on one side, and he's going to run in on the other. Oh, disaster for both players. This is going to be crazy.
Yeah, so both their bases are being raided. Sitaux definitely has to run further, though. His villas were very, very exposed on that lumber camp.
Oh, yeah, good blocking here as well, here from Sebastian as he kind of steps in front. And yeah, it seems like these things are killing villagers pretty quickly. It's pretty even, though. It's 6 kills versus 5 kills on the eco side of things as more Shravamsha riders get in. And, you know, bonuses aside that bring value here, I will say that just that speed of the Shravamshas is so beneficial.
Lets you catch the vills.
Yeah. And you just still not really helping
is so
you.
Exposed now for Sebastian.
God, this is so stressful, man. I don't think the Eagles have squires, but even if they did, they wouldn't even touch the speed of these things.
Oh, absolutely not. Those things are very fast. But, you know, at the same time, it feels like the Shravamsha riders, they're able to clean the Eagles enough at Sitau's base.
Yeah.
And Sebastian still needs to pump out the Eagles. He's losing a fight, too, in the back. I don't know if he's losing it, but at least losing Eagles there.
Yeah, so the eco's looking much better for Sitaux because his food eco wasn't delayed. He also has way more farms, and he's been continuously annoying with these Shravamsha riders. I mean, remember what he did with the Camel Scout in Feudal. He's probably going to do the same stuff here with these Shravamsha riders, just running around and around and around and looking for weak villagers where he can get a pick. So this will be all in from
and
Sebastian.
This unit's much faster than the camel.
Huh.
Now, Sebastian has moved to the middle of the map and is picking some gold at the top of the hill. I don't think Sitaux has scouted that yet. So he might, as long as those vills are not spotted, they'll be fine. But if those Shravamsha riders run over the top of that mountain and see them, they have nowhere to run.
Dude, I'm just laughing at Sitaux. He's still running around with that Shravamsha rider. Oh, God. It's crazy, man.
And Sebastian has to be careful with those farms, too.
Yeah.
He could be picked off.
This is impressive. I'm really impressed with Sitaux. It's the response you would expect from the guy.
Oh, and he gets out.
And yeah, he's just going to leave now.
He went to put a gate.
My goodness. There's 17 Eagles. There's 12 Shravamshas, but it never really feels like the Eagles have the mass because Sitaux can decide on when he takes the fights because of all this speed.
Exactly.
And these things are not supposed to be good.
The middle.
Great quick walls here from Sebastian. These things are not supposed to be good against Eagles, right? They're not really designed to be effective against that. You have to make sure you're walled now if you're Sebastian. You can't let those things back in your base. I don't think you could recover from that.
Yeah, absolutely not. And you have to be careful, too. Oh, he has a hole in the wood line. And also these palisade gates, they're weak points in your walls. They go down pretty fast. But that hole is there.
Oh! Wow, that was a crazy quick wall, though. Saved him.
Just in time. That saved him.
And then Sitau's going to drop a castle, and it feels like throughout all that time, Sitau's been thinking, okay, I can't use these Shravamsas forever. He'd been on stone. He gets a great grouping. The castle fire helps out, and the Shravamsas get some hits, and now he can make some Chakrams. And now I'm flipping the conversation. Now I'm like, well, what in the world are Eagles supposed to do against the Chakram thrower? The Chakram thrower feels like the unit for the Gujaras against Eagle Warriors.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the only answer the Aztecs really have against them would be if they can get to Mangonels and Onagers in the late game, but probably not viable on this map and not against the Shravamsha riders.
Look at the importance of the second TC and some good farming eco. It's 59 villagers versus 39 villagers. Like, Sitaux is officially held now. He's even going as far to as research this unique tech, which I think is one of the most valuable unique techs in the game right now. It makes all your units cost less food. All your military units, that is. And Chakram throwers do pass-through damage.
In the late game, too. Yeah, if you get to raiding with your Hussars, it's so cheap to pump them out.
I guess in theory, monks could be okay.
Finally for Sebastian.
God, this is going to be another overchop, isn't it? I just feel it. Just waiting for it. There's got to be a hole somewhere. Oh, no. Oh, no. But
that's a lot of dead vills.
Full credit, though, to Sitaux. I mean, he just continues to look for the damage, continues to find the damage, and is macroed so well at home. He's even keeping the Eagles out on the right of his base with repairs. He's just playing like a beast.
Sebastian loses everything on that wood line. They did not get a single vill away.
The score...
Yeah, I think that Sebastian was microing monks at the front against the Chakrams and didn't notice.
Yeah. The score that you see at the bottom right does not tell me that Sitaux has 35 more villagers. That tells me Sitau's got... Oh, this could be a 6-shot. That tells me Sitau's maybe got like 15 more or something.
Maybe. Sometimes it takes time for the eco lead to catch up in the score.
Yeah. Yeah, score can always be a little confusing. I'm sure Sebastian feels like he's dead right now because the Chakram throwers can be so good against mass infantry. They were already good against mass infantry, but they received... Actually, it was a buff and a nerf at the same time, right? I think the nerf they received made them weaker against all units, but then the buff was just like a +1 attack versus infantry or something. So it might end up being around the same as what we had seen before that change.
Actually, they have, if I'm looking at them now, +0 against infantry, but +1 against Eagle Warriors. So it's the same thing against these guys, I guess.
Huh, okay. I thought it was all infantry, but either way, the Eagles are just getting slaughtered.
I think maybe the elite version has that.
That would maybe make sense, yeah.
All your Eagles just die.
There's no real formation change you can really do. Like, you have to get in close, and your units have to kind of group up and stack up. You can try and spread them out, but you're still just going to get wrecked. And I mean, let's be honest. I think if Sitaux didn't get that castle down, I think with the way his economy was looking, I think he could have continued with a mix of maybe light cav and Travamsha riders. He didn't even need to have the Chakrams. But he planned for the Chakrams, and he did crazy damage with his stable units, and the timing on his castle was right when the Travamsha riders were starting to look a little iffy. So, well played, Sitaux. Series is 1-1.
Yeah, I think the key was when they were transitioning to the castle age. Sitaux had sent all of his vills forward to that lumber camp where they were vulnerable. And at the same time, Sebastian, he just needed to make sure his base was walled.
Yeah.
That's kind of a decision versus an execution aspect there, where a few walls in the woodlines and those Travamsha riders don't get in. But then that's also the map. It's what these forests do to you. You have to pay really close attention to them. And Sitaux, he kept looking for it. He kept looking for those openings.
Yeah, and it is interesting because at least at first glance, it felt like Sitau's map was harder to lock down. Sitau's map was the more vulnerable with the wood. He kind of has no wood in the back anymore. So, yeah, he played with control here. Is a reason Sitaux prefers these types of maps. And Sebastian was just a couple instances in this game where it was sloppy and he got outplayed by Sitaux, losing the wall villager, then moving forward with the 1 spearman, 1 eagle, 2 archers, and then Sitaux killed that, and it just continued to snowball on him.
Yeah.
So, important instance here in Group D. So, again, there's going to be more rounds for these players after this, but there's a chance for Sitaux to surpass Veleza and surpass Tato, especially Tato with Tato's situation.
Especially after that result earlier today.
Exactly. And the final series for Tato, and most likely Sitaux, we don't know the exact order, but will be Sitaux versus Tato. So, you know, if Sitaux wins this game, he's looking really good in the group. And then for Sebastian, obviously, you still need wins, right? You got to get a win here. I think if he were to get 2-1s, mathematically, he's just getting further and further away from ever having a chance at getting 4th place, which would keep him in platinum. So he will be on his home map. The home map will be Shoals, I believe, and it'll be a very different map than Kilimanjaro. And here we are, game 3. And so, you know, we just talked about a T-West, like what's the meta here? And honestly, I think with Italians, it's got to be that fast castle play. And for the Mongols, who knows? You've got Hunt everywhere. But the focus on this map, at least initially, is the water. But later on, you've got the golds on the sides and lots of different talking points on land.
Yeah. So I think to start out, if you look at Sebastian, I mean, if you look at Sitaux, 2 players whose names start with S, I'm going to mess this up. But he pushed in a deer right away, and he only has 3 vills on that deer under the TC. And he's going out super early for that lumber camp. And I've noticed players doing this a lot on this map. So if you play the Britons, you're probably used to putting 5 villagers on the sheep because of their bonus. Well, Briton, sheep, and hunt are collected at almost exactly the same rate. So you can get away with having fewer vills under the TC and try to get that lumber camp up. And this just means your dock gets out a vill or 2 earlier and you start fishing earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know if Sebastian has a vill walking back. You noticed, though?
Yeah, it looked like, Sitaux there in the north had the same issue. But yeah, it's spot on. It seems like everything Sitaux is doing about his build thus far is to get the wood up, our wood income a little bit faster, which could lead to the fishing ships. But, you know, where it gets interesting is the Mongols have the hunt bonus, so they'll want to take their hunt fast. And that almost always ties into aggression from them. That's almost always the reason they use it. And I'd still like that because you don't have any real bonuses after that, and you want to pressure civilizations that do. And see, for Italians, they might not have the hunt bonus, but I think the fact that it's cheaper to go up to each age, which applies to feudal and castle, and you have cheaper dog techs, and you've got a sea tower. Like, I think if the sea tower wasn't there, to be clear, that's available for both. I just didn't want someone to be like, what? Why does one person get a tower and the other one doesn't? Yeah, I think all those things just really fall into place for me to like a fast castle play from Italians. Just to give up water, come back on the water in Castle Age, and then get your TCs up on the gold or something.
Yeah, and I think the sea tower really helps the fast castle, not just because it protects your fish, but it makes sure that your enemy can't just camp your dock with a bunch of galleys and take them out.
Yeah.
It means that you're always going to have a spot to get back on the water if you want to go fast castle fire ships.
Yeah, so, I mean, Sitaux going to wood as early as he did, it doesn't mean he can't fast castle still, but that normally indicates to me more of an aggressive feudal play. And Sitaux is an aggressive player, as we just saw in the previous game, so maybe he doesn't want to go FC. But yeah, as for Sebastian, I'd be curious to see if he scouts the other areas of hunt. There's hunt all around the map. And that was actually something you and I didn't really talk about. Like, I was just like, hey, I want to work with shoals. We talked a lot about the fish in the middle, and you made tweaks there. But I don't think I ever made one mention, or you ever made one mention of the additional hunt, because I didn't think people would use it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, well, it is good for Mongols on this map. If you get your second TC up somewhere, then sometimes you get the hunt included too.
Yeah.
Like if Sebastian were to go to that gold at the top, there's some deer kind of right by that stone mine. Yes. Where, you know, if you get the TC there in your Mongols, it can help you if you lose the water, because you still have a really good eco with the deer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so there's just lots of reasons to scout for both players. I'm keeping an eye on Sitaux. Normally, if you're going for FC, you're going to wall a little bit and try and wall in your golds. His golds are pretty exposed. The one on the right he'll probably take, because the one on the left is too far away. And there goes Sebastian. So that answers our question about the Mongols, because he's going up super fast here.
Yeah. One other thing to note about this map is there are 7 relics on it, not the normal 5.
I never picked up on that, actually.
If you get out and you're really aggressive, you can, like, if you take both of the sides early on, you can get 5 or maybe even 6 relics if you're really keen on picking them up with monasteries.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think plays into the Italians' hands here, because they have a really good monk tech tree. And they often want to be going for those monks in the Castle Age anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they just can do anything, really. I mean, you don't think about the Italians for their stable units, but they get more stable blacksmith upgrades than the Mongols do. Like, they can go for Hussar, they can go for Cavalier. They have the condos, they have the great archers with the unique upgrades, and then good monks too. I mean, Italians are just simply a more well-rounded civilization, but not many civilizations have the peak of the Mongols with Mangudai and Steppe Lancers and Siege and Hussars, so.
And we have seen Steppe Lancers be pretty effective on this map too. They're not quite as fast as the Shravamsh Riders, but they are faster than Knights. And when you want to be... This is kind of weird in that it's in some sense an open map, because you need to be on both sides to control the gold. But it's also a closed map, because you see a lot of those faster imp Trebwars near the golds with castles and bombard cannons.
Yeah. A lot of people are talking strategy. We've got a Sitaux fanboy who's saying all these things about Sitaux. And then one person just says, Sitau's mining camp bothers me. And it bothers me too.
Tile off.
Yeah.
It does.
It's not completely horrible, but it does bother me too.
Yeah. It doesn't matter at all, but yeah.
It still bothers me, yeah. All right, Sea Tower's going to miss.
Looking at that, I wonder if you're only going to put 4 vills on the gold. Maybe it's better to put it adjacent to the gold, kind of like when you do with the berries, because then the vills don't have to walk at all.
True. I think it's much harder to wall then, which is an argument against it.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, nice job. Initially, the scout was aggroing the, the
sea tower,
receiving the aggro from the sea tower. Exactly, it was distracting it. And now, is that scout in range of the sea tower? It's not. But good aggression there from Sebastian, who's, again, opening up on water for a reason. He wants to kill the fish, but then Sitaux just clicks up there to the next stage. Sebastian just doesn't care about the sea tower. He's like, I don't care if I lose my ships. I just want to kill those fishing ships. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Like, I guess killing the fishing ships is very helpful, but you might lose your fishing ships in the next stage as well.
Yeah, I feel like you just die to fire ships if you're stuck in the feudal age.
Well, I guess you do anyways,
a lot of
though.
Galleys you can micro, but yeah, they're just so strong against the feudal age ships.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, maybe I like sniping the fishing ships because regardless, Sitau's going to come on water here with upgraded ships, and he's going to kill you. So it doesn't matter if you've like 2 galleys or 8 galleys. It's just going to happen. And also, Sebastian didn't go for fletching, so he did that with little investment. He's now starting to wall up at home. And still has the scout alive too, which I think is really valuable. So, like, right now, the food eco for Sitaux, it's not quite as hot as it would be otherwise. And he even tried to add another fishing ship on that left side now.
Yeah, that's dangerous if the galleys still take it out. But that's a good point. He didn't have to invest into fletching for the galleys and still sniped it off.
Mm-hmm.
And that also means, does he have a blacksmith yet? He does, but he didn't need to like prioritize adding that in super fast like you would in a galley versus galley fight.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's 4 eco kills for one player, but 4 military kills for the other. So it's been eco trading for military. And there's the war galley upgrade. Again, no other civilization can go fast castle, lose their fish, and then do that right there. Get the war galley upgrade. It's just so cheap. But Sebastian could be up right behind him. And Sebastian's got pretty good land eco to work with. And there will be no... I'm a little surprised at this. No attempt for Sitaux to TC the gold on the side. Instead, he's going for a defensive TC at home.
Right. And he still has his scout alive, so he could have been scouting and seeing that Sebastian doesn't have any land military that could deny a TC.
Yeah.
So this is a decision. He wants to be more defensive with his early build-up.
All right, so I wonder if you're in Sebastian's position, if you can just justify continuing to produce fires and then the occasional demo, because your tower is helping out so much. It's pretty decent defense,
yeah, look at that tower
considering.
Yeah, the towers do a lot more damage to galleys than they do to the fire ships too. So it lets the fire ship player kind of sit under a bit more. Is there a snipe fish?
Is there a reason for that? Is it bonus damage or something?
Yeah, if you look at the sea tower, it has 9 attack versus ships, and fire galleys have 6 ship armor, and galleys have 0 ship armor. So each of those arrows is doing
It's
the full 9 attack to the galleys.
Yeah, it's the armor difference. Got it. But finally, Sitaux gets some revenge here for the fishing ship snipes. This is away from the sea tower, so you can see just how effective these ships can be. Fishing ship goes down, trades it for a galley. And we have Sebastian still 90 seconds away from the next stage. Guys, this is not slow. We are at 17 minutes. Like, this is perfect, actually. This is fine, but it's just that the Italians are able to be so fast. And
yeah, and they went straight for that fast castle.
Yeah.
I wonder what Sebastian does with this demo. Does he go for the fires, or does he try to find some fish with it?
Well, I really think he shouldn't have moved out right there. I think him moving out was a bit of a mistake. I think sitting underneath the tower would have made more sense. But he did add a stable at home. And he does have a scout. And it looks to me like he's actually going to send his vills to TC the right side here in Castle Age. But he's behind in vills.
He's gonna run into
40
that
villagers
tiger
versus
there.
34. And you have fishing ships now for Sitaux. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, this is a rough spot for the Mongols, because you haven't really damaged the eco, right? You killed 4 fishing ships, but they're cheaper for the Italians to add back.
Yep.
And you can just add in that monastery now and start collecting those relics.
Yeah, a really clean play from Sitaux. Honestly, like, you know how we see bands of, let's say, Burgundians when there's arena or fortified clearing in the map pool? I feel like Italians are so freaking good on this map, but no one will ever ban that in the draft. Like, no one wants to ban Italians, but I feel like if you just do like this, if you can't play with Italians, I feel like you should ban Italians.
Yeah, I feel like there are other maps where people think about like civ advantages being more significant, like Spanish on Nomad.
Yeah, sure.
That they probably think of first. And I don't think people think, oh, Italians are such this awkward civ, I don't want to play against them. Right? It's not like they're the Gurjaras or something weird.
I wonder if someone could get us the win rate.
I don't think they get banned.
I want to know what the win rate is for Italians on this map. I know Mongols had possibly beaten them before. It's really been these 2 civs. But I'll look at this on the left. This is why having that stable so valuable. Great job from Sebastian as he tries to recover here. He's going to kill a villager on the left side. And this is as I think Sitaux wants to maybe castle over there. And Sitaux instead has to go for a defensive castle here, T-West.
Yeah, and as you were saying, he had time earlier to go out there, but he didn't. He opted to stay at home.
Yeah, and now it's awkward. Now going out there, would mean you need to have a bit more support. So he's bringing monks and then some Genoese. And eventually we're going to see Sebastian try and make a siege workshop on the other side. But there's a crocodile attacking the Ville. And it's going to survive. Nice save.
Yeah, there are these crocodiles here, very awkwardly disturbing your Villes sometimes.
I mean, he might actually decide not to push at this point. I mean, that's some wasted time, right? Like, she was halfway across. You might want to choose to, like, make the siege on the left so you can prevent a TC from going up there from Sitaux instead of pushing the right where Sitaux is already running out of gold.
And I think the question for Mongols always is, what do you do against the Genoese crossbowmen?
Yeah.
If this were like a Black Forest game, of course you could go for siege onagers, but you don't really have the eco for that, or even the map doesn't really suit itself to that too. Sometimes you get to those fights on the sides where you're going for the castle wars near the gold, and then your siege can be useful. But still, the Italians have the monks and they have their bombard cannons.
Yeah. I think Sebastian really wanted to get some type of a push flowing together with siege and step lancers. Like, that was his plan. And you can see he is to loop the whole way around the map with these step lancers because there's fire ships still in the middle for Sitaux. So he's got to get all the way over there, which takes a lot of time. But what I will say is it's actually not going to be the worst push ever because, oh, man, the castle there for Sitaux. Are you kidding me, Sitaux? Oh, this could be a gift for Sebastian. He could deny this.
That mangonel's at 80%. It needs to come out. There's a lot of Villes there for Sitaux.
Oh, it's at 50%. It feels
like
like one of those where
here.
villagers die, but maybe it goes up still? He sees it.
You can run to the other side.
Oh, can he? Is he actually out of range of the mangonel there? Bonk.
Not quite.
Good micro from Sitaux, though. He actually placed this castle because he saw the siege push was coming because of Town Watch.
And he will lose a couple of Villes and get some mangonel shots, but he can just hop in the castle and it goes up.
Apparently, Italians have lost twice on this map, both times to the Mongols. Interesting. Okay, so it's been an interesting clash. I wonder, and this is going to be harder data to get, I wonder if the Italians went fast castle there or not.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Was it just a galley war that they lost and then it was an equal game, or did they fast castle on it?
I honestly,
I think that sea tower just makes such a big difference to make the fast castle possible.
but honestly, Sitaux and like ACCM and everyone who's been successful with this, they also have made a very difficult strategy to execute on look so easy. It's just playing so
Absolutely.
good. And we're gonna have the TC on the left now for Sitaux. He's protected on the other side of his base with the castle. He's got Bod Canero now. So the Genoese crossbowmen are really unstoppable as it stands. And, you know, we'll see if Sebastian could maybe work with that right side. Get castles up over there. I wonder if you even could justify making your castles at home just so you can keep the Mangudai producing instead of losing your castles to a bomber cannon push, because that's another thing. But I guess you do need some level of protection for your gold.
Yeah, well, Sitaux seemed okay just to put them at home for now. Make sure that he's secure, keep the farming eco going.
Yeah.
Make sure that he's able to click up to imp on time.
Oh my goodness. He's going to drop a castle there with one villager. I imagine more are coming. But Sitaux is just going to go forward, and he wants to go imp here. And so does Sebastian, actually. But Sebastian doesn't really have any army right now. So there goes
He
Sebastian.
doesn't have any army, but he is the first up to imp.
That's crazy, actually. To do that against the Italians when you've had the worst eco is very impressive. But it's not going to be that much
It's
faster.
only a 13 Vil difference. It's not like he's too far behind in the eco.
Yeah, it's true.
And now that the Italians have clicked up, they don't really get an eco bonus now either. The fish are mostly just shorefish at this point.
Italians there.
It's just that unit composition now. The Italians are so good at this early imp transition with the Genbos and with their cheaper bombard cannons.
And the castle count's insane. You could use 2 castles to produce trebs and 1 castle to research conscription. And I'm seeing a bunch of ranges now for Sebastian. Is he going to maybe try cav archers? Or do you not want to do that? Oh, he's going to try arbalests with the Mongols.
They do have
Dang.
arbalests.
Yeah, they
And
do.
Arbalest, In early Imp, they're usually a decent option against the Genbos. Later on, if the Italians do their Pavisi for the extra armor, then it could be an issue, but the Arbs, you just have so much more production.
I'm really worried, though. There's so much eco right here where these castles are going up. You can run, right? You could run to the right side, maybe, but at the end of the day, Sitau's going to be heading over there, too. And leaving your base with 50 villagers means that that eco is just not working. He's just now getting fletching.
Push these castles now.
Yeah, exactly. No bombard cannons. He doesn't even have a castle to make trebs. Just feels like Sitau's all over him from the jump.
Yeah, I feel like maybe he could go for a ram push here.
Yeah.
But even that's going to take time to do the upgrades.
Yep. We got 2 relics now, so Sebastian's just trying to relocate those, bring them back, which makes sense. How many times have we seen players not do that and regret it? But it definitely feels like relics are not really the conversation here, and it's more like, are you going to have your base as he drops a castle in his base? And the Genoese crossbowman on the other side for Sebastian sees the vills. So we're definitely going to see Genoese crossbowman go to the other side for Sitaux, excuse me. Yeah, this is just so clean from Sitaux. I mean, this is the same Sitaux that got that win against Viper. The same Sitaux that won 2-1 versus Veleza. This guy's just insane.
Yeah, and well, there come the Trebs. And it's 2 castle production versus 1 castle, and the Trebs are already out for Sitaux.
Yeah, the army count's good for Sebastian. And I think going for anything on a horse is sometimes questionable against Genoese crossbowmen because of the bonus damage. So that is... I don't think his unit choice is necessarily bad. I just think that he's in a horrible position right now, and he knows it too. And so, yeah, he just calls the GG.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Sitaux played the Italians perfectly there.
Yeah.
And I feel like Sebastian just didn't really have an answer for it. He was thinking snipe the fish, then do something with step lancers, but Sitaux felt like he was perfectly prepared to handle that.
Now, I'm going to suggest something that MBL had tried against Draken when Draken was the Italians, MBL was Byzantines. But I'm still just trying to think, how do you break this strat? Like, this strat is so clean with Italians. It's so good. So I'm thinking, like, I think the initial sniping of the fishing ships is good. I think that is a good strat. I'm wondering, can you justify going, like, forward archer ranges? Or maybe not archer ranges, but just, like, one range archers with fletching to try and hit Sitaux. I mean, even saying that, you can't.
Do that, and you need to do a lot of damage, too.
I know.
Because I think MBL, even he went forward with towers and pushed Draken off one of his golds, but still just couldn't do enough to stop this.
Yeah, because by the time your archers get there, they're probably already in Castle Age. 14:05 castle time.
Yeah, right. And it's not like this is an easy map to defend either. There's shallows so that you can't fully wall yourself.
Yeah.
You have 2 tiles of gold and they're really far from your TC.
I think this map is just designed so perfectly for the Italian bonuses if you take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And it probably is the #1 civilization on this map right now, I think, based on win rates and everything. But Sitaux, so that was the conclusion of his 3rd round. And so after this 2-1 result, he now he goes up to 5 wins from 3 rounds. He has to play, going off the top of my head here, which is dangerous. I think he has to play Barrels. That sounds right. And then he has to play Tato yet. So,
that
I mean,
sounds right.
That could be, another 3-4 wins for him. Obviously, we have to see. When he plays Barrels is going to be fighting for every win he can, just like Sebastian was here to try and stay alive. And then when Sitaux plays Tato, that's going to be crazy because I think that series will ultimately be the difference between one player getting like 4th, 3rd, or 2nd place. But a good result for Sitaux, who is 2-1 in the total set. So again, the only series he lost so far in this group, he lost to Viper, 2-1. And then he beat Veleza, and then he's beat Sebastian. So he's looked really strong.